Greetings, good afternoon. I'm Jim Barber. This is the former Stanford star Ross Gold on Wood Day. Green Bay is ranked in the top 10 in the country in 8 different categories and put 95 points on the board the other night. But it is team chemistry that impresses you about the team. How important is it for them to make a run in a tournament?
Well, check it out. Green Bay has 2 co-players of the year. They have 1 co-defensive player of the year. They have the coach of the year. On paper, they should win. But having some experience playing myself, I do know that there are many talented teams that can't stand one another. And that starts to wear on you come March. And so this team, I asked Green Bay, what's your X factor? They said, we're tight-knit. We hang out together. We practice extra together. And that's the edge we take in today's championship game and beyond.
All right, well said. Let's get to the star watch. Brittany Bowen playing very well for Butler and playing in the 4 spot. How good is her game right now?
Well, she's leading the team with 15.3 points per game, and she takes advantage of offensive opportunities. If she's left open, she'll knock down a 3, and she's best one-on-one driving for layups. Within a small Butler lineup, she can play inside the paint with 4 guards around her.
Yeah, you mentioned that lineup. Nobody taller than 5'10". They'll play small ball, and it's one thing that the Bulldogs do very well. And for Green Bay, let's get to Celeste Haywish and her game.
Well, of the 3 big contributors for her team, she gets them going. She's the vocal firecracker for this team. She's described as fiery by her teammates, and she can go off from the 3-point line, she can put the ball on the floor, and disrupt guards defensively with pesky on-ball defense.
And Green Bay also with a 4-guard lineup. Every player on this team can pass the ball, rebound, and can score. What's at stake? In a word, plenty. Championship of the Horizon League and an automatic bid to the NCAA tournament.
You can pretty much assume, regardless of what happens to Green Bay today, the Phoenix will make it to the NCAA tournament, but Butler needs to win to get to the dance.
Ron Dressender, Rod Creech, and Michelle will officiate the game today. We're underway in Green Bay in the home white.
Butler starts out in a 2-3 matchup zone.
With a lot of 2-3 on Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday evening, and also Friday as well.
But one thing they have to do is locate key shooters along the 3-point line so that they don't get shot out of the game.
Jeff Kuchar says we want to contest those shots. No easy looks. 36-7, this series owned by Green Bay, and Butler's not won at the Crest Center. Second opportunity for the Bulldogs. Here's Alyssa Pittman. Beth Kuchar in her 9th season as Bulldog coach, 4 straight 20-win years, and confident about her group, but fully aware, too, that, Roz, in this atmosphere, it will not be easy.
Well, she said, you know, what we're going to focus on first is defense. That's her philosophy. She recognizes her team is smaller, but they are quicker than most.
Butler wants to be able to deny that interior pass, particularly the lob. On that one, the Warriors, she'll get free throws. 40th birthday today for Green Bay head coach Matt Bowen. He's had the Green Bay squad sing happy birthday to him on several occasions, and he was saying before the game the last version sounded really good to him.
I'm sure it will sound even better with a win today. That would be the 5th time ever in program history that they would go undefeated at home.
Well, let's talk about Butler and what the Bulldogs must do to win this afternoon.
Well, for Butler, first and foremost, they have to contest threes. Green Bay shoots 35% from 3-point land and can get hot. Secondly, if they're going to stay in that zone, they must talk. Guarding shooters means you have to run out, which means rotation, which means hustling to try and find rebound position. It needs communication.
That'll help for Butler. Brittany Bowen for 3, who can play the guard or the 4 spot. How about Green Bay's keys to winning?
Well, Green Bay needs to win the shooting percentage game. Why? There's an interesting stat. Butler is 17-0 when shooting a better percentage than their opponent. So what that means for Green Bay, take good shots, make good shots, and then force bad ones from Butler. Also, defensively, they really want to limit layups from Hamilton. She shoots an amazing percentage inside the paint, make her shoot a little bit farther out from the basket.
Corey Hamilton is 32 for Butler. In the dark blue uniform, she has not missed a shot against Green Bay. 14 of 14 from the floor in 2 games, and 11 for 11 in the near upset win against Green Bay in the first meeting.
It was a very close game, and she put the team on her back, 11 for 11. That's You just can't get lucky with that. That's concentration, focus, and desire.
Green Bay has missed on all 3 of its three-point attempts. Good drop off by Bowen, but Brierly misses on the 3 in position to Quillen.
Right now, what Green Bay's doing against the zone, they're taking a lot of outside shots.
That outside shot knocked down, and the Phoenix have a 5-3 lead on the three-pointer by Sarah Eichler.
Yeah, she's only shooting 28% from 3. What she's really out on the court there for is her toughness, and because she's one of the best defenders on the team. The fact that she knocks down a 3, that's just an extra bonus.
Tough shot for Bowen, but Brittany draws the personal foul and 2 free throws.
Bowen started off the game. She knocks down a shot from three-point land. They didn't deny her there. Now they're playing a little bit tighter. She faces up to the basket and attacks. She's showing versatility and also keeping her defender guessing.
On Wednesday, Butler dismantled Detroit on campus, 64-38. And with a 9-0 start on Friday night, got up early at Cleveland State and won by 14. Butler is a good free throw shooting team at 74%, but Green Bay's even better, close to 80.
Green Bay shoots the ball very well from the free throw line and also the three-point line. Again, I said they shoot 35%. The past couple of possessions on offense, they've been taking all 3s. And what Coach Bowen wants to do is attack the zone. He wants to establish inside so that the outside game comes easier.
Trying to be a little more patient on this possession to go inside. Able to do so, and you're right. Finally able to solve the zone inside on the basket by Julie White.
Well, that comes from unselfish play. We saw a number of passes there. Yesterday in the semifinal, they had 26 assists on 31 field goals. This team makes the extra pass.
Foul called on Celeste Haywish, number 4 in white for Green Bay, her first. And team foul number 2. Attempts coming primarily from beyond the arc. Its last field goal inside on a jumper by Julie White.
Green Bay,
the HL Player of the Year, 6th person. Green Bay has owned its 2 opponents in opening competition, beating Loyola and White State, and a rare turnover in their half-court offense. 95 points in the game, following 89. Well, you played on a Stanford team that was awfully good offensively, but how about this group and its ability to share the ball?
yeah, the only way you can score that many points is by being unselfish with the ball. Again, 26 assists, 30, almost all of their baskets were off of somebody being generous, helping someone else score.
Love the way they move the ball inside out. Tough shot. But made by Kayla Tetschlag.
Well, that's where Kayla Tetschlag is best. Inside the paint with her back to the basket, she says that's where I'm most comfortable, even though I can do a lot of different things.
Green Bay extending its defense with the trap.
Green Bay does a lot of different things defensively, a lot of trapping and pressure elements, but here's Butler. The way you get through that is passing through it. You draw a defense, you find a good angle, make the extra pass. Now when you're at the when your defense is at the disadvantage number-wise, you just got to find the open player, as Butler did right there.
Well, you played on 3 Final Four teams at Stanford. You should know a little bit about that.
Making good decisions?
Oh, absolutely.
You would think.
Tara Vanderveer wouldn't have it any other way, would she?
No. She's a less is more coach.
Back-to-back turnovers by Butler, and 5 minutes into the first half, we have a television timeout. Roy Hamilton still perfect from the floor against Green Bay, but Phoenix so well at moving the ball. Butler on Friday opposing Cleveland State, and Devin Brierly taking the ball to the rack. That's what Butler did so well in this game. Able to gain an advantage early and then secure things up early in the second half. Chloe Hamilton scoring there, and Brittany Bowen doing her fine work and a step back three. 68-54 was the final for the Bulldogs. As for Green Bay, this was a runaway. She converted well from the outside and put 95 on the board. Back to live action. Good hustle by Julie White to keep the possession going.
What Green Bay does an excellent job of is getting the ball inside and then kicking back outside.
Roz, how about their ball movement there?
By passing the ball and forcing the zone to shift, by taking it in deeper into the paint and into the middle and making the zone make decisions on how to guard, there are going to be gaps along the three-point line, and kicking in and out is a great way for Green Bay to find open shots.
That's the first miss by Chloe Hamilton in any of the Green Bay games. Here come the Phoenix in the home white and already up 15-7.
You know, one thing Coach Kuchar for Butler said is, we're quick in the zone. Well, if you pass against it, that's even quicker.
Butler able to counter with a three. That's 2 threes for Brittany Bowen here in the early part of the first half.
Brittany Bowen's hot. I think you got to get closer to her right now. You can't just stand near her. You got to put a hand up in her shooting pocket. The ball goes inside. It gets kicked out by Green Bay. Inside. This time able to turn around for a shot.
White got cleared out. Butler got a break, but unable to convert was Chloe Hamilton. So the ball goes back to Green Bay.
Ball's kicked up ahead, and that's Chloe Hamilton. That kind of could have went either way. It looked like she might have got bumped going up between two players. However, the pass might have been ill-advised. It was a little long and didn't put her in a position to be successful.
Free ball, left corner, a little too strong. Green Bay is struggling on the outside shot. Good deflection by Asia Bass, and here comes Butler.
Butler with the 4-on-3 advantage. Nobody committed. So Devin Brierly takes the ball all the way to the basket herself.
Unable to convert, and back come the Phoenix.
You know, those are the kind of things that Butler needs. You need to convert on possessions where you have the advantage.
Such a small margin of error for Butler, wouldn't you say?
Oh, definitely. This is a team that's never lost at home this season. You have to do everything right.
Good interior defense on Sarah Eichler, and Butler comes back with the ball, trailing 15-10.
Well, Becca Barnhurst there coming over for the weak side help.
Somebody has lost a shoe, by the way, and play continues on. Looks like Brierly was without her left shoe. How about this?
I love it. She doesn't even seem fazed by it.
No, shot clock is down to 5.
Knock it down.
One shoe on. That's it. No basket, though. As Butler committed a turnover prior to that, an offensive foul. That would have been a great theater.
Oh, that's so unfortunate.
She's ready to go.
She was ready with one on. She knocked down the 3.
Sure. Play on. Green Bay in the home white facing the 2-3 Butler zone. It was so effective in opening night play against Detroit, limiting the Titans to 38 points. But this is a different animal here today.
If you see Techlak, she's trying to seal the zone player one-on-one.
Good tap out to keep the offensive series going. Ritchie with a third try.
One of the toughest things to do out of a zone is box out and get rebounds because you have no defensive responsibility.
Green Bay's 6th made field goal for the game, and the lead is 7.
Green Bay back into a pressure man-to-man defense here. Butler's having a hard time getting into an offensive set.
And that leads to Butler's 7th turnover and a personal foul to complicate matters.
Butler has 8 turnovers right now. Green Bay has 5 assists to 2 turnovers. So nearly as many assists as turnovers at this point of the game. Butler really can't afford that to stay in the game with Green Bay.
It's a pretty staggering number. Green Bay has forced 787 turnovers for the year. Think about that. All of those empty possessions.
You need the ball to score. You know, Jim?
They haven't changed rules since this game's been invented.
You know, the one thing with Green Bay playing such close perimeter defense, what Butler needs to do is attack the defender. When players are that close to you, if you blow past them, all they can really do to stop you is foul. Ball hits inside, it's quickly swung outside.
Tetschlock trying to seal off the defender, 42. Now she comes and pops out. Woida missed it, and Butler with a rebound. The margin of victory has been frightening for Green Bay, almost 40 points a game. And for the season, it's a top 10 number in NCAA statistics. 23 points on average, better than the opposition.
What a play from Tetschlock. You would think it's not just you show up game day and try to figure it out there. It's that in practice, you are all holding each other accountable. Coaches for players, players to players, players to coaches. And when you do that, the games become easier.
Been easy so far in the Horizon League tournament for Green Bay. We'll see how it becomes today, leading by 9. Turnovers are adding up way too quickly for Butler. Green Bay owns a number of categories in the Horizon League: scoring margin, points per game, field goal percentage, assists. Best free throw shooting team as well at 78%. Butler at this point is on pace for 40 turnovers. Lydia Bauer, 22 in the game for Green Bay. Instant offense for the Phoenix. But Green Bay turns it over. And now foul called on Eichler. Her first.
The one thing with pressure defense, you want to make sure not to be over-aggressive. One thing that I learned from Tara Vanderveer is that being too aggressive negates effort. Sometimes when you're fouling out, and you have to realize your value to the team on the court. It's more important to play good defense than to be fouled out sitting on the bench.
Good point. Bowen cut off. She has 2 early threes in the game for Butler. Pittman on a drive, taken out of the air by Green Bay. Later tonight, ESPN delivers a special edition of The Experts as host Lowell Galindo and our experts analyze every first-round matchup of the recently announced NCAA tournament bracket. The Experts Tournament Edition, part of Tournament Countdown, presented by Delta Airlines on ESPNU later tonight at 9:30 Eastern. I know as a fan, can't get enough of those shows. And I'll be watching you in studio tomorrow night, as will most of the country, for the women's selection.
Yep, after the teams are selected, we'll be breaking down the brackets, making predictions, if you will.
We'll see how accurate you are, trying to hold your feet to the fire on it.
You're going to hold me to it, too?
Absolutely. Next time I see you, I'll have a scorecard with me. Finals this year for the women in Indianapolis. Bowen nearly had her third three. Hamilton misses the putback. And a foul called on Butler, which has been stuck on 10 points for a long period of time.
Green Bay got lucky there. They let Chloe Hamilton get an offensive basket. We said you have to limit her points in the paint, and she does that driving one-on-one or off of offensive boards. She missed that one, but they got to keep her off the glass. She had 22 points yesterday. Yes.
Becca Bornhorst has picked up her second personal foul for Butler. Team foul situation. 3 on the Phoenix, 4 on the Bulldogs. Under 8 minutes for the first half. This for the Horizon League Tournament Championship. Good skip pass. Eichler missed it. And a bump underneath as Haywish was set out of bounds. Green Bay trying to stay perfect at home so far. Does so well. You highlighted this in the opening. Team chemistry of this team is very good.
Well, they're very unselfish. One more pass, one more pass. Drawing the defense, suddenly gaps open up. You know, Butler's very small, so they're quick in their zone, but there's no human being faster than a pass of the ball, the movement of the ball in the air. Green Bay's been finding success going inside out and making the extra. I was just going to say, so here you are, you're not stopping Green Bay offensively, then defensively, then you get on offense and you turn it over. You know, at least if you don't turn it over, you can match basket for basket.
Against the Butler 2-3. That's a three for Adrian Ritchie.
Adrian Ritchie does a lot of different things for this team. She was actually starting earlier this season. Then she got injured and she missed 5.5 games. She didn't come back into the starting lineup. She's not fully healthy yet, but she can run the point. She can knock down threes. Yesterday, she had 8 assists for this team.
Here's Tetschlag inside and foul and going to the free throw line. That last possession, you almost get the impression, and this is what Beth Kuchar was concerned about, Butler starting to rush things here in the first half, even though we have a lot of basketball to play.
You know, this is the difference between, you talked about cultures of winning. You know, Green Bay having the experience, what it takes to come from behind. A team like Butler is building their program to that level. So when you get behind, you look at it as, gosh, we've got to score 13 points now. Teams that are used to winning understand it happens possession by possession. Let's get a stop. Got it? Okay. Let's get a good offensive set. Okay, repeat, repeat, repeat.
Over 6 minutes now without a basket or a point for Butler. 8-0 run for Green Bay.
One thing you're seeing Butler doing right now, they're running players off of screens within a set. They run a lot of set plays rather than a motion offense. That's what Green Bay does.
Bowen short on the three. Another 1 and out for the Bulldogs as the rebound comes down to Lydia Bauer. Second opportunities for the Phoenix. Eichler gets one there.
Eichler's got 8 points already. Her season average is 6.4 points per game. She's really playing outside of herself offensively.
Butler in danger right here.
I think they need a good shot. We'll take that one. An offensive board for Chloe Hamilton. If there's anyone that Green Bay needs to focus on, must box out, it's Chloe Hamilton.
Hamilton's second field goal. She's got 4. She played with concussion-like syndrome or symptoms the last time they played. Wasn't discovered until after the game, and then sat down the rest of the week in practice before the game between Butler and Valparaiso.
Well, this whole Butler team has dealt with a lot of adversity with injury. They lost their starting senior point guard, Tara Burns, and she averaged 8 points per game. She's worth 5 assists per game. That's more of that unselfish basketball they could use right now. They also lost their starting center, 7 points per game, lost her to an ACL.
That's Sarah Hams you're speaking of, and that's forced them to play small this year.
Exactly. So now they're playing a small ball. They've kind of gotten into this zone defense. Right now they're struggling, but they're a tough team. They've dealt with a lot, and to be at this point, they've exceeded expectations given those injuries.
Ritchie now with 5 points for the game. Green Bay are doing a more effective job of attacking inside after relying on three-point shooting early.
Well, that's what Coach Bowen said. He wants to attack the zone, go inside, seal against the zone, and make Butler guard them one-on-one inside.
Butler's getting few second opportunities. Phoenix in the home white and ahead in our game 28-12.
Watch Kayla Tetschlag. She's showing her numbers to her guards, asking for the ball deep, and then if the defense is on her, she kicks it back out quick.
Now you're Butler and you're running the offense. What do you look for here in terms of a good opportunity?
Well, I want to get either Chloe Hamilton going or Brittany Bowen. So let's run a set and get them a shot close to the basket.
Hamilton is 32. Bowen trying to post down low is 10. 8 to shoot it. They defended Bowen well there, and back come the Phoenix.
Well, that was excellent defense by Ritchie and great help from Lydia Bauer. If you watch Adrian Ritchie, she is fronting both Brittany Bowen and Chloe Hamilton, so they can't get the ball into them. And then once they do, there's weak side help. So this team's...
Butler has not done a poor job defending, but has done themselves a great deal of harm on offense, trying to play ball security. Everybody with a touch on this possession. Bauer with a miss, a rebound to the backup point guard, Jenna Cobb.
We know Bauer can get hot. She was 6 for 10 from the three-point line yesterday. .333 for the first half.
Green Bay 28, Butler 12.
He's certainly motivational there. And some of the words he said echoed what we actually heard Asia Bass say to Butler pre-game, say to her Butler teammates pre-game. She said, we don't have to be the best team all season long. We don't have to play them in a series. We just got to be the best for 40 minutes. We all have our parents. We don't have any diseases. We're not sick. We just get to come out here and play the game we love. Let's do it.
Unfortunately, turnovers have been an Achilles heel for Butler. That's 11 in the game. They've defended Green Bay well enough at 37%.
Defensively, they're doing the best they can here. They're doing a nice job. It's offensively, where they're not giving themselves a chance. Too many turnovers. They can't even find good shots to take and make.
And Brittany, Bowen, and Chloe Hamilton have the only field goals for Beth Kuchar's team at this point.
And even those baskets are hard-earned. What Green Bay is doing is having the defender front them, so that now the ball has to either be lobbed over or they have to be given the ball in a bad position.
To this point, Ross, Green Bay with 11 points off turnovers, none for Butler.
Well, Green Bay changing things up defensively right now in a 2-2-1 three-quarter court press. Did not work there. Actually, Butler showing unselfish play, making extra passes to get the layup and the score.
Brittany Bowen with 10, Butler's 14 points. Green Bay is just 4 of 17 from beyond the arc. But how many opportunities are they getting second and third chances on these possessions?
Again, it's hard to rebound out of the zone. There's no specific you box her, you box her, you box her. But if you look at what Green Bay does here, as I watch their offense against the zone, is they don't just pass the ball. Before every pass, there's a ball fake. You talk about culture of winning. It's the little things like that. Ball fake that gets the defender to move their hands, swivel their head, and then you pass the other way.
Maywish with her second field goal now has 5. The lead is back to 16 at 30-14. Green Bay 31-1 for the season. The only loss back in December on the road in Milwaukee to Marquette.
If you're watching Hannah Quilling's defense against Chloe Hamilton, she is using her body. She is getting low to the ground to get leverage against her, in front of her, denying her the ball. That's where Butler wants to go, and they can't because Hamilton is being denied.
Spoken well from a lady that was the Defensive Player of the Year last year. Her starring role at Stanford, the Cardinal.
You can only play good defense if you trust your teammates, because you have help side, so you can play a player to their weaknesses.
3 to shoot it for Asia Bass. Got it.
Asia Bass, I asked Coach Kuchar about her, and she said she is our on-court vocal leader. She has stepped up in the absence of Tara Burns. She scored some buckets there, but what she's really on the court for is to be a veteran leader for this team.
Able to find Tetschlag was number 43, Sarah Eichler.
And that pass came because Tetschlag sealed against the zone. She put the defender in the zone on her back and created an angle for a good pass in by a guard against the zone.
Tetschlag called for the personal foul, number 42. Let's go back to what you're speaking before and go inside the play here for the Phoenix.
Well, Coach Bowen said, seal against the zone. Put the zone defender on your back, find gaps in it, ask for the ball. It takes you to seal it and then a good passer to make the right touch for you to make the play.
Hamilton with a basket and one. Gloria Hamilton, who wreaked havoc on Green Bay in the first meeting when she was 11 for 11 from the floor. Able to score here and get the foul.
It's a very nice play by Hamilton. She beats her player going baseline. Haywish is there coming over for help side, from weak side help. Instead of charging into her, she pulls up before getting in too deep and knocks down the shot and gets the free throw.
Hamilton played just 19 minutes in the second game against Green Bay. Was held to 9 points. Again, got banged in the head in a game previous to the Green Bay one. Got knocked in the head again, and Beth Kuchar was saying yesterday really wasn't all there for the game.
Butler forcing a turnover with the three-quarter court press.
They're going in too tight, unable to convert. Here's Ward in the open court. Ritchie.
Green Bay does not have the advantage. They start off 2 against 3, but it's because of the hustle of Adrian Ritchie running in there. She now is able to help her teammate make a good pass and use that momentum for a layup in transition.
Beth Kuchar, the Butler coach, having some words with official Rod Dressender. She thought there was contact on the other end on the missed shot inside for Butler off the break.
And they just subbed Chloe Hamilton out. That's going to really change things offensively for Butler. She's been the spark for this team as far as scoring.
Bad pass by Butler. Eichler. I suppose as a coach, there's some errors you can live with, but not a cross-court pass against a team as good on defense as Green Bay is.
Well, you know, the cross-court pass leads to turnovers. Players in passing lanes can make plays. At least the defender didn't let her get an open layup. But you know what, as you said, if I'm a coach, I don't like a cross-court pass, but I understand that Asia Bass isn't just throwing the ball willy-nilly. She is heavily pressured. And then now, because of that pressure, she can't get a good angle to make an entry pass. That's forced turnovers, not unforced.
18-point lead for the Phoenix. That's the largest. Good pass inside. Bowen misses. Green Bay with the ball for the final possession if it chooses.
Way to draw the entire Butler team and kick it out from the 3.
Adrian Ritchie has 10 of Green Bay's 40. It was 15-10 earlier in the half. Since then, Green Bay on a 25-9 edge. Number of Horizon League award winners, and that's not surprising considering how well they played during the year. Let's start with the co-players of the year, Celeste Haywish and Kayla Tetschlag.
Well, Celeste Haywish, you know, they're both, and Kayla Tetschlag, they average about the same amount of points, but they're completely different players. In fact, different personalities, and they balance each other out emotionally on the court. Celeste Haywish is more of the fiery energy player on the court. Kayla Tetschlag, for her team, she leads by example. She's a calm demeanor, she's positive, she's encouraging, and on top of that, their numbers speak for themselves. They're two very talented players.
All right, Angela Rodriguez is the Horizon League newcomer of the year, averaging almost 13 points a game and shooting the ball 41% from the floor. Co-defensive players of the year, Juanita Garland and Celeste Haywish, both averaging 2.5 steals per game. And the Horizon 6th player of the year you're seeing today, performing number 3, Alyssa Pittman, averaging almost 12 points a game, 3 rebounds, a couple assists, and a couple of steals. The birthday boy, Matt Bowen, his 40th birthday is today. He has his team on quite a roll, 31-1. He was the coach of the year in the Horizon League. For Butler, Brittany Bowen, who wears number 10, scored 10 in the first half, had a couple of threes. Chloe Hamilton had 7 points, but committed a number of turnovers. And for Green Bay, off the bench, great performance from Adrian Ritchie. Butler in the visiting blue uniforms with the ball to start the second half.
You want to talk about setting the tone in the first 2 minutes of the game? Look at the way Green Bay came out defensively. They didn't wait for Butler to bring up the ball. They denied from the onset.
Bowen posting low, missing inside, got it back and got fouled. And Brittany Bowen will step to the free throw line to add on to her team-leading 10 points.
That's nice, aggressive play from Bowen. Asking for the ball, grabbing it, chasing down her own rebound. They need her to be big in this half to come back in the game.
Second foul on Celeste Haywish.
You know, Brittany Bowen's been struggling a little bit today. First half, she was 3 for 9. A lot of the missed shots she had were layups. She has to slow down, gather herself, and take the shot to make it.
How tough is that for a team playing against this type of pressure and atmosphere that Green Bay provides?
I think it's the pressure that rushes them, and then on top of it, the crowd is so loud, it's hard to get your thoughts together. Eichler doing a little bit of everything instead of allowing the turnover to happen, hustling down, giving her team a second chance.
Butler is saying that should be a continuous shot clock and that the possession didn't switch hands.
First time into a rushed shot.
Official ruling is shot clock at 16 for the Phoenix. Under 10. Lloyd on the turnaround. And the rebound to Bowen. Good defense by Butler.
That was great defensive execution by Butler because they were able to move, rotate, and make good decisions defensively in the zone.
There's one of those passes Butler should not make.
Last play, they made great decisions on defense. Butler needs to make better decisions on offense.
You talked earlier about Sarah Eichler having a career game. She averages 4 per game. She's up to 15 so far with the ball.
And she's a sophomore. You know, this Green Bay team is going to lose Kayla Tetschlag and Celeste Haywish. So it'll be a very different team, but what Eichler's showing is that there'll be a good team in the future.
Eichler, who grew up in Grafton, Wisconsin, that's about 100 miles south of Green Bay. Tetschlag inside, draws a personal foul. And she'll shoot twice. That's 3 now, Chloe Hamilton.
And that play was only possible because Kayla Tetschlag put herself in a position to score. Look how deep she's in the paint, showing her numbers to the guard. That's an easy play for a point guard to pass it into the chest of a post player. All she had to do was throw it up at that point.
The one thing that Butler head coach Beth Kuchar was concerned about, no deep catches for us to have a chance.
Well, you know, that's something that big player play in women's college basketball, that is probably the biggest challenge, teaching post players to show their numbers to the guard and ask for, demand the ball.
Bowen on a drive to the baseline, left it a little short. A rebound to Haywish, and Bowen got it back off a held ball. And the possession area will keep it on this side. Spend your day with ESPNU Monday for wall-to-wall coverage of the men's tournament on college basketball. Then at 6 Eastern, tournament edition goes even deeper into the NCAA tournament. Both programs are part of Tournament Countdown, presented by Delta Airlines on ESPNU Monday. Is there a better time of the season for the men's and women's in the NCAA tournament?
Gosh, March Madness is the most amazing time of the year. It's the best when you're playing during it.
Well, you were so used to playing so deep into the tournament at Stanford. Had to be fun. Good play by Hamilton.
Some of the most thrilling moments of my life have happened playing in a Stanford jersey. The Final Four is a really special experience, and especially for women's college basketball. Not many teams play in front of thousands of fans. At the Final Four, it's tens of thousands.
Yep. Barely bumped on the move to the basket. Fouled by 42, Kayla Tetschlag.
Butler's doing a much better job in this second half of getting closer to the basket for layups. They're attacking, they're causing fouls, they're chasing the offensive rebound, and Brittany Bowen is heating up.
Cross-court pass stolen by Woida. Among other things, Green Bay uses its length to full advantage.
Sure, one thing defensively you have to see, Green Bay's in a player-to-player defense, but they're not just playing aggressive, they're playing big, hands up, deflections, in passing lanes. That is active defense, folks.
Tetschlag, good drop step. For me, and they have.
I think that's it's so amazing that Amelia's story could be a part of inspiration, because sometimes when you practice 6 days a week, 5 hours a day, you can get selfish. You can say, I'm too tired, I don't know why I'm not playing more. And when you hear stories like that, you understand there are things so much bigger than yourself.
I asked Beth, I said, do you fear the return of cancer? She said, I don't.
Wow.
She said, I believe that I'm going to be cancer-free the rest of my life, but at the same time, if it does return, I'm living a life without regret and enjoying my life to the fullest.
That is so powerful, and I'm sure for the Butler team, that's an inspiration for how they practice every day, for how they play each game.
In fact, she's been sharing some stories of inspiration since her recovery.
Butler looks inspired in the second half here. Like they have nothing to lose. Offensively, finding ways to score. Defensively, getting stops. The only thing that is hampering a comeback is continued turnovers.
Claire Freeman, number 2, sophomore guard in the game for Butler. Bulldogs down 48-22.
Right now, Green Bay defense is keeping Butler outside of the paint and along the three-point line.
Phoenix wanted traveling. Brierly instead gets a acrobatic field goal.
Brierly got very lucky. That was a travel. She needs a Metro card. Got on the subway there. And on top of it, just throwing up a shot. But sometimes those are the ones that go down and get your team sparked.
Rolling in the corner with a pass after 3. Rebound to Becca Bornhorst, who got into foul penalties in the first half.
You talk about one play at a time to get back into the game. Green Bay's gone cold here. Here's where Butler can capitalize now on offense.
Looking for Bowen, posting down low, and nearly got the and one.
The basket was big. It couldn't have gone any better than that.
Congratulations on a terrific career at Stanford, and picked a great moment to shoot lights out, did you not?
Thank you. It was, a lot of unselfish play from my teammates getting me the ball, and we're seeing that right now from Green Bay tonight. Unselfish play, knocking down shots, and for Green Bay, they've got 3 seniors. For Butler, they have 5, 4 in the starting lineup, 1 injured. Every senior wants to go out with a bang. And for either of these teams, it would be something that, a memory that would last a lifetime, winning the Horizon League championship.
And you're in your rookie season as a broadcaster, enjoying your work here?
Oh, it's so much fun. I'm one whistle away from hopping on the court.
Claire Freeman with a rebound. Butler with 22 points to make up, down 48-26.
What's funny, though, is the relationships you make with coaches while in college, it doesn't just end after you graduate from the court. In fact, Tara Vanderveer called me in this season to have a video session of one of the games I've done broadcasting. She sat me down for about an hour and broke down film with me. She said, that was good, but it was like a verbal turnover. How can you do that with less words? Some things never change. You're still in video with your coach, even when you're a grown woman who's graduated.
And it'll be like that the rest of your life, I would imagine.
Oh, God, I have nothing to look forward to.
Jay Williams, one of our ESPN analysts, has felt the same from the Duke fraternity of coaches who have assessed his work.
It's beautiful. I have such respect for my coach, and that she wants to help me in life is amazing. And, you could say the same for Coach Kuchar and Coach Bowen. They want to teach these players beyond the basketball court. They want them to be contributing members to society afterwards.
Freeman with a wild bank shot there. Bowen tries to tie up. 32 Woida in the backcourt instead picks up a personal foul, and that is Brittany's first. Under 14 minutes for the game, and the Phoenix holding serve on its own court, up 22.
Well, you see that Butler sees that time is of the essence. They're picking up now 3/4 of the court, trying to speed possessions up so they can have more time, more possessions to get back in this game.
Average margin of victory for the season for Green Bay is 23, so they're right at the number. Good sharing the ball. Line drive shot by Woida from the free throw line.
White has got 10 points. She's been averaging a double-double within the Horizon League tournament.
Beth Kuchar off the turnover, back to her bench, and she'll call on Asia Bass. The Phoenix with 4 players in double figures, led by Sarah Eichler with 15, Ritchie, Tetschlag, and Woida 10 apiece. On a day where the Phoenix aren't shooting the ball particularly well, up 24. Good news for anybody anybody that'll post Green Bay in a tournament, Phoenix won't be a host team.
Well, you know, the hardest type of team to guard is one that can score inside and out. You can't just sag in because they can kick it out for shooters. You can't just guard the perimeter because they have players who demand the ball inside. So you have to play them honest or pick your poison defensively.
Pick your poison seems an apt phrase, doesn't it?
I mean, the poison is everywhere. Just about everybody for Green Bay is contributing today.
This is Becca Bornhorst, a sophomore from Dublin, Ohio. Who turned 20 years of age on New Year's Eve.
Now, you know, both of these teams have postseason hopes. You know, the second place team from this conference will go to the WNIT tournament. And what matters in postseason play a lot of the time is matchups. Do you get the right matchup? Can you be successful against this type of a team?
And attitude measures as well for Green Bay because they're not satisfied with the way they finished last year. They thought they should have made a deeper run than the round of 32.
They got close. They were a few seconds away and a few points away from a Sweet 16 berth.
Tough move by Bowen, and back to the free throw line is the senior guard from Columbus, Indiana. The thing you like about these two competitive teams is how hard they play to the basket and on the floor.
I mean, you can't teach that. These are two teams that want to win and don't want the season to end. They're on the floor, they're diving, they're taking contact. Now, there are some teams that would have given up by now, but Butler is staying in this with their aggressiveness.
Deficit at halftime was 21. It's 20 right now for Kuchar and the Bulldogs. Prior to Beth arriving at Butler, the program was having difficulty winning. 3 games, just 3 victories and 26 defeats for that season prior to Kuchar's appearance on campus.
You're looking at a Butler team right now that has exceeded expectations given the injuries they've had this season. They lost their starting senior veteran point guard, their starting center. They've got players moving around. They have to play small ball right now. And here they are in the championship game against the number 11 team in the nation.
Making a little bit of a run, too.
Green Bay has not lost at home this entire season. They have not lost in conference.
Butler has shaved off 7 points to that 24-point advantage moments ago. And a foul on the Phoenix.
Well, that's the shot that Butler wants to force Green Bay into. A contested shot, making them take bad ones.
Can Butler work its way back into the game?
Especially when you get hot and you play with energy and heart, because energy is contagious. And then suddenly when you have energy, you have belief. And when you have belief, you have confidence. And then you're playing better than the player you are.
I can see why you still want to hop on the court. Open 3. Rebound to Bornhorst. Another possession for Butler, who has control the last 5 minutes of this game. Alyssa Pittman knocks down a 3, and the deficit now is 14, and here comes Butler.
She's been quiet tonight, but that's what she can do. She's taken the most threes for this team. She shoots 33%. She's hot, too. She had 22 yesterday.
Imagine a 14-2 run on Green Bay at Green Bay.
Well, Green Bay's not getting the open shots they were before. The shots they are taking are contested, and now Butler is forcing the turnovers.
Butler also gets a tied-up ball there. The possession arrow gives it back to Green Bay, or keeps it in Green Bay's hands, but the shot clock is at 10. Rolling bounce pass inside. Parents love what they're seeing as daughter Haywish scores and goes to the free throw line. That's Dean and Donna Haywish.
Well, you knew that could only last so long. There's Quilling drawing defense and then making a sweet bounce pass. just through the seams there like a needle in hay, trying to get that pass in there, and Hay was able to finish in traffic.
Bowling averages 3 assists a game and had 11 in a game against Milwaukee, and that snapped a long drop for Green Bay.
Just about everyone on this Green Bay team averages 2 or 3 assists. I mean, everyone is passing the ball.
Butler down 16. That 3 is short. Bornhorst tried to get the rebound, unable to secure it, but it is out of bounds to Butler. Monday night, my partner will be part of the women's brackets, exclusively announced on ESPN's NCAA Women's Basketball Selection Special, which teams have the easiest and the toughest roads to Conseco Fieldhouse in Indianapolis. The NCAA Women's Basketball Selection Special is presented by Capital One. It begins on ESPN Monday at 7 Eastern. The coverage moves to the U at 8 Eastern. Have a safe trip, by the way, over to the ESPN headquarters for that.
Oh, well, thank you. It's going to be an exciting time. This is a moment teams sit down together in the locker rooms and wait for their destiny.
Would Butler's destiny be a Horizon League championship? Once down by 26, the Bulldogs are within 14. Charlie Cream, ESPN's women's bracketologist, has the top 4 seeds. Spoke to Charlie Cream a week ago on one of the Atlantic 10 broadcasts on ESPN. He says you get down to the second-seeded teams, there's a question mark or 2. Good back door, but missed by Asia Bass. That would have cut the deficit to a dozen.
Well, I think those 4 teams, they're givens as number 1 seeds, but I think what's exciting about this year's women's tournament is that there's no givens for who's going to win. Everyone has lost. Everyone has been capable of an upset, has played close in conference. It's going to be an exciting tournament this year.
And the tournament held in a smaller venue than usual. It'll be the gorgeous Conseco Fieldhouse in Indianapolis. Now the turnover, Green Bay on the break.
Dominant in conference, in fact, and they're led by Teresa Weatherspoon as head coach. She's inspiring those players, building a program there. And Texas is a team that maybe hasn't reached this season's expectations under Coach Gestencourse, but at the end of the season, they're starting to rally.
Kevin Borseth coaches the Michigan team. Borseth was the one that got the Green Bay franchise going here so well in women's college basketball before Matt Bowen took over. Well, they're still not out of it at 56-40. Could use some more stops, though. Open shooter.
In a night out, to go undefeated in conference, to go undefeated at home, it takes focus and intensity every single possession.
And I can imagine the practices are extremely intense as well.
Again, it's that culture of winning. It starts in practice, it's executed in the game, and you better believe everyone is trying to gun for you.
Good ball movement. Hamilton misses inside. Butler's had some chances here in the second half, not converting. That's
the story of the entire game. Missing chances, missing opportunities, but whether it's missing layups or missing possessions because you're turning the ball over.
Not this time for Richie. A rebound to 23, Asia Bass. This game for the Horizon League Tournament Championship and an automatic berth to the NCAA Tournament. Bowen.
Bowen's been much more effective in the second half here offensively.
Brittany Bowen has 26 points to lead Butler in scoring, and the Bulldogs aren't going away yet. Once down by 26, not like each other at the end of the season. Not true, of course, for Green Bay. A great affection.
Oh, it helps so much because then you can play unselfishly and for someone else. So you feel fatigue less, you're angry less, you're more excited.
Celeste Haywish with a 3. 5 Green Bay players in double figures. Horizon League Championship on the line today here at the campus of the University of Green Bay. And time starting to run in Green Bay's favor. Beautiful behind the back pass to Bowen. What a great look by Alyssa Pittman.
I mean, if we were scoring style points, I'd give you an extra 10.
Oh, yeah.
That was like a Steve Nash / Harlem Globetrotters using Melissa Pittman.
And on the other hand, one of the players that Butler didn't figure to have a big game has Sarah Eichler with 17. Her average is 4.
If you're a coach, you hate that. I can't tell you how many times at Stanford, we've done scouting report defense, and then the player who scores 3 points per game goes off for 30.
Pittman on the drive does not get the basket, but does pick up an offensive foul. Another look at Butler style points. In the home white, the Phoenix with the ball. Warren with a bank shot. Julie, one of the 5 players in double figures. She also has 9 rebounds to go along with her 12 points.
If she gets a double-double today, it'll be her 3rd in a row in tournament play.
Three ball on the way, a little too strong by Pittman. Bass cleans it up for Butler.
I think anything's possible in this game if Butler continues to get offensive rebounds and can convert those to 3-point shots. What they're trying to do by picking up full court here, looks like they're in a man-to-man, could be a 2-2-1. They're trying to pick up the pace of the game and get more possessions. It is a 2-2-1. They're looking to trap. However, Butler, so unselfish, bringing the ball up the court, doesn't look phased at all.
Butler able to get as close as 14 points here in the second half. And then missed a layup that would have cut it in even further into the deficit. Great lob inside, but missed by Tetschlag. She is down, and so is Chloe Hamilton. It's a 4 against 4.
Missing bunnies like that smells like the ingredients for an upset.
What a move by Bowen and put the defender on her shoulder. And that is 30 for Brittany Bowen. 30 points in this game today.
She's our star watch player of the game. We knew she'd have to be big for Butler to have a chance.
17-point deficit. Good clear out and rebound to Green Bay. Under 5 minutes for the game.
Melissa Pittman is out there looking to shoot. These are almost all the shots she's taken this game. 58% of her shots this season have been threes.
Let us discuss the play of senior guard number 10, Brittany Bowen.
Well, she started slow in the first half, missing bunnies. Second half, she got in deeper, finished inside, took fouls, and then knocked down 3-point shots, and also helped others by getting assists.
Unfortunately, besides Bowen and Hamilton, that's been it offensively for Butler.
And the difference between these two teams, Green Bay passes the ball, everyone scores. Butler does a lot one-on-one. Even last game, there were only 4 players who scored 7 points or more. After that, there were a couple with 2, and then the rest of the team, nothing.
Bowen with 30 and 7 today and 10 of 18 from the floor. Bowen typically was a guard here at Butler until this past year, and you mentioned the injury situation, losing the starting center for the Bulldogs. That forced Bowen to play the 4 spot. She's actually been a little bit more agile, been able to post people down low and add to offensive game.
Well, it creates mismatches. She's faster than most big players. She's a big guard. She can put smaller guards on her back. And what Beth Kuchert says about her is she's a tough player. She's playing through injuries herself. Her shoulder and her ankle hurts.
And despite that, she has started every game this season.
You know, I've mentioned before what it takes for an upset. Your stars have to play well, but you need some unexpected contributions. Bowen showed up tonight. They needed someone else to play outside themselves to really have a chance at the upset against Green Bay.
Chloe Hamilton has 9, but Bowen is the only player in double figures for Butler. Down by 15, with under 4.5 to go. Tetschlag almost turned it over. Now she has. Good pressure at the half-court line by Butler, and here's a chance for the Bulldogs.
I think it's certainly possible here as long as Butler doesn't hurt themselves by turning the ball over. The crowd trying to get in their head, standing, getting loud.
opportunity there. One's down by 26. The deficit to 15, but a Butler turnover.
Adrian Ritchie snuffed that play out. She came over help side and cut the lane off for Bowen. She was unable to score because of weak side help.
Green Bay beats the press and will now move into its offense. But it's stolen. Picked off by Pittman. And one for Butler.
Certainly getting a little interesting here, Jim.
Under 4 minutes to go. Could we see a historic comeback on ESPNU? Once down by 26, is within 13. Tetschlag is fouled in the backcourt. That is team foul 7 on Butler. So Green Bay, an excellent free throw shooting team at 78%, will go to the line. Phoenix trying to make it 31 in a row over Butler. That's a streak that dates back to 1999. Significant foul difficulty.
That's a big free throw for Kayla Tetschlag. You know, we talked about the different types of leadership between the two on-court leaders in Celeste Haywish and Kayla Tetschlag. Tetschlag is more of a quiet leader. She leads by example. Haywish louder, more of a spark plug. Both balancing each other out and taking this team so far this season.
Makes for interesting chemistry, doesn't it?
You need that, though.
What kind of leader were you?
I was very energetic and loud.
On the night that you had a career-high 27, the ESPN.com writer said you had a fiery pregame speech to your teammates.
Well, you take your role very seriously. Especially in your senior year, there's a sense of urgency, and I let my teammates know how important this season was, and each one of their contributions were to my final couple of games in a Stanford uniform.
How about this atmosphere at Green Bay? The students are away, and yet you wouldn't know it.
Well, that's huge for this team. They're getting the momentum from the fans. The fans know when they need to get louder to frazzle Butler.
Little Curly Neal Globetrotter performance there, and basket as well by Alyssa Pittman, who's had a good second half.
Hey, if Alyssa Pittman doesn't get to the championship or doesn't get to the NCAA tournament, she could always try out for the Harlem Globetrotters.
I'd say there's your resume right there.
You know, just send a couple of clips from this game. At least she has options.
Yes, which is always good in this world. Tetschlag against Hamilton, draws the double team. 5 to shoot. And on the final second of the possession, Butler picks up a foul. Alyssa Pittman never lost control here.
Kept the dribble alive, got up and still took the player to the basket. She's out here thinking comeback. Since the beginning of the second half, she's had nice passes, finishing for nice buckets. She's been one of the spark plugs, helping Brittany Bowen bring Butler to life here and have a chance at this championship.
Unfortunately for Butler, they have lost the play of Chloe Hamilton, who for the second consecutive game against Green Bay has fouled out. Hamilton had 26 points the first time they met, where Butler almost upset Green Bay, and then in the last 2 games, Phoenix have defended her into scoring just 9 in each of those 2 losses for Butler.
Where Butler will miss Chloe Hamilton the most will be on the offensive boards. In the second half, they've gotten some second chance shots, and they've come from her rebounds.
I should say in the case of this one, a potential loss. It's not over with 2 minutes to go, but Green Bay in control by 15.
It's not over until Jim Barber sings.
Yeah, and that's not about to happen. By the way, the Green Bay women serenaded their coach today, Matt Bowen, on his 40th birthday, and he was very impressed with the third and final singing. He thought everybody was pretty much in key.
This would be a great birthday present to win the Horizon League championship.
Well, why not in Titletown? They're used to championships here with the world champion Green Bay Packers. And Green Bay trying to get the Horizon League tournament title back in its hands, which it lost last year to Cleveland State. They start young here in terms of supporting the hometown, and they're very rabid fans.
3 passes inside the paint. So unselfish. Actually, right there, I think Wida could have went up for it by herself. So a little bit too unselfish. But Green Bay still comes up with the free throws.
You know what's interesting? There might be some fans out there saying, well, you can't compare the Packers with a basketball program. But in fact, they expect to win here at Green Bay, and they win often. And nothing less than a championship, particularly regular season or Horizon League tournament, will do.
Winning is winning, if you ask me, and it feels great when you're one of the players on a winning team. It gives you goosebumps. It's bigger than yourself. It's lifelong memories. It doesn't matter if you're playing in front of 80,000 on a football field or 4 at your home court trying to win a championship on your coach's 40th birthday.
Which is about to happen with $1:26 remaining in the game. Green Bay with the ball back and leading 74-57. And next stop for Matt Bowen and the Phoenix will be the NCAA tournament. Charlie Cream, ESPN Bracketologist, has them as high as a 4 seed. I think that would be a pretty good setting for them.
It's all about matchups.
And they'll be a difficult matchup because they don't turn the ball over a lot. They make free throws, they assist field goals, and they rebound.
You know, I think that Butler is forced into playing a zone against them because they're smaller and limited in depth. I think other teams might try to match up with Green Bay in a player-to-player defense, and that might change the look of things. They can guard the three-point line better, and size might become an issue for this Green Bay team later down the road.
Celeste Haywish, number 4, also on the bench after a strong performance. Her final game on this Green Bay court. Under a minute to play. Butler with a steal. Bowen looking for a career best. He'll get a chance at the free throw line with 30 points in the game for the Bulldogs. Well, not lost in the atmosphere and Green Bay's championship is the fact that Butler made a strong run here in the second half. And Brittany Bowen now has tied her career best at 31.
Brittany Bowen is a senior as well, and she can hang her head high, hold her head high with the effort she's put on the court here today, keeping the game exciting in the second half. A second-team All-Horizon League selection. This team will go to the WNIT tournament, and she'll lead them there.
Saw moments ago, huge ovation for Adrian Ritchie, who played in a starring role today for Green Bay, scoring 18. Riley on the drive to the basket will have 2 free throws. Butler with a number of seniors in its lineup. Will not make the NCAA tournament, but will be bound for likely the WNIT. And for the Phoenix, they'll be watching and listening to you and the panel of experts tomorrow night to find out where their next stop will be.
I spoke to Coach Bowen, and he said the goal is to go one step further. For them, that means Sweet 16. I said, what's the most important thing? He said matchups. How we match up with the teams, the bracket they put us in.
He also said, I'm not going to set limits on this team. We could be dangerous in the tournament. We could go a long way. Bank 3 for Butler. Cuts it to 11. That's the closest the Bulldogs been, but the final 10 seconds set to tick off, and we'll have a new champion of the Horizon League tournament.